They went through a very unique corporate challenge over the last couple of years. There's been this new law you may not have heard of called Obamacare, right? Hold political comments. The upshot of it was that the fundamental nature of Blue Cross was going to change. To this point in their history, they had gone to the CEOs, the CFOs, and the HR directors of companies all around the state of Alabama and could convince one person this is a great product and a great service, and it was fundamentally a B2B decision. Well, under Obamacare, that decision calculus was going to change. All of a sudden, individuals and their personal preference for insurance became paramount. Lots of people were going to get to make an individualized decision on insurance. So convincing people that this was a great decision became critical to their long-term success. Well, fundamentally how we went about this was not radically different than what they had been doing. Blue Cross is an amazing company. They had put lots of time and money into making sure they had the best systems and processes and customer service that you could possibly have. They gave back 98 cents on every dollar went back into patient care, which blew away the industry average. So they're really a fundamentally great company. What we had to do was not tell that story, because that's one that's based off of data points. We don't remember data points, right? We need to find other ways to help people remember and make that decision. And what we were trying to do is exploit two different psychological drivers. One was likability. We want to do business with companies that we like, that we think are like us, that employ people like us, that make decisions for people like us. And two, we want to take advantage of the fact that they had scale, that lots of people had Blue Cross and liked it. Now, when we think about those things, how do we think about them? Wow, they did a good job with Jenny. Yeah, that helps, but it doesn't really relate to me because I'm unique and I'm different. Sorry, you have a question?
Are you marketing to the individuals here or are you marketing to the companies?
Both, primarily to the individuals is the mass of audience that we're now marketing to. Great question. But we take all data and we apply it through a filter that's ourselves. What does this mean for Jake, right? So we had to create likability for an individual. So we approached this to a segmentation piece so that we had to do marketing on a much more micro level than we had ever done before. I'm going to show you some spots. Given that you live here in this market, you've seen several of them, and we'll talk about them as we get to the end of them.
This is Sherry. She's battling cancer. Fortunately, it was caught early, so she's getting the treatment she needs and is on the road to recovery. She may have lost her hair, but because she has Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Alabama, with one of the lowest premiums in the nation, she didn't lose her life savings or her dignity. In fact, Sherry's gained something. A new friend. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Alabama. We cover what matters. Meet Pete and Paul. Twins so much alike, friends call them Pete and Repeat. But Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Alabama treats them as individuals. Each gets a health insurance plan designed to meet his specific needs. One is a self-employed entrepreneur, the other working for a large company. After all, no two customers are alike. Especially in Alabama. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Alabama. We cover what matters. Find out how we can cover you.
So you're beginning to see how we're trying to relate to people, and there are actually about a dozen in total of these very personalized campaigns. And what we're trying to do is identify folks that are like you, at least one that you could relate to, and the media was targeted against those same profiles. So you were most likely to see a spot that was directly related to you, so that you could say, I'm like that. They're going to take care of me like that, or those are my problems that they're solving. Now, of course, it extended to lots of other areas like decision making.
Need health insurance coverage? Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Alabama has a plan for you. You can compare all of our plans on our site. We have the largest network of doctors in the state and online fitness tracking tools. We can line up the right plan for you. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Alabama. We cover what matters. Find out how we can cover you.
Also had to fill a few gaps that existed out there. Anybody in here fully understand Obamacare? Yeah, me neither. But yet a lot of us are going to have to go make a decision based around things we don't know anything about. So there was an opportunity for Blue Cross to step in and fill that gap, to be the source for information. So again, beginning to create affinity by becoming a trusted source of information. So they launched a site where you could go have your common questions answered in normal people speak. This was not the legal mumbo jumbo that was out on the government websites and lots of other insurance websites. And through that, we're able to prime people so that when things became available, they went into the process with an affinity for Blue Cross. This is a company that has helped me along the way. I like them, other folks like them, and I want to do business with them. Did some neat stuff to capture attention through different media executions. This is a magazine that was a 4-page deal. Each time you turn, it kind of builds upon itself to capture people's attentions. We did some things in innovative spaces, trying to remind people that we wanted to help them out as individuals. So if you're in the gym, you might see reaffirming messages up against the mirrors, letting you know, hey, take care of yourself, because that's useful for all of us. Well, the upshot of all this is that Blue Cross has done very well. Now, one of the things we track against is not just sales, but how people feel about you as a company. And there's something that's an affinity score. And Blue Cross Blue Shield of Alabama is 30 times higher affinity score than the average health insurance company in the country. Now, certainly part of it we'd love to think is because of clever marketing, but the reality is they're a great company. They do great things for a lot of great people. But because of that affinity score, what we're finding is that as people go through the exchange, about 80% of them choose Blue Cross. Wow, Blue Cross isn't the cheapest, not all the time at least. And perhaps it's not any other specific attribute that you might be looking for, but we're still capturing them at an 80% clip. And it's because we've done an effective job of creating that sense of likability and leveraging the concept of social proof. Because shopping for insurance is more complicated perhaps than any other purchase you're ever going to make, including buying a car, because there's so many variables. And yes, you can get out a spreadsheet and you can spell it all out. You know who does that? Nobody. We short-circuit the decision-making process and make decisions based off of fundamental things that Stephen Colbert likes to call it gut decision-making. That's what we're trying to fundamentally get at. It's a short-circuit process in your brain.